So, how would you like to go to church with me this morning? Not the best camera angle. Sorry about that. Yes, it's Sunday morning, and if you know me, and those of you maybe getting to know me, I love my church. I'll do something, probably in a separate video, about who I am spiritually. But my church is a Unitarian Universalist church, and I'm not Christian, but I love Jesus. Yeah, kind of a odd collection of bits and pieces of spirituality. So this morning is the kind of morning that tests that. The basis of my spirituality is the earth, and it's a very, well, in December, it's a very November-y kind of day, in that it is raining and it is cold and it is dreary. And it's the kind of day that I have to sit with my earth-based spirituality about what about this can feed me and nurture me and inspire me. So, breakfast this morning was ham and cheese omelet with 2 pieces of bacon. Carbs here. I woke up hungry this morning. Not craving. I woke up hungry this morning. That's the first time that's happened. Which is okay, because it meant I was hungry when I was sleeping and didn't know any better. And after sharing that thing about ketosis last night in my Vlogmas for yesterday, I imagined that I had this glucose sugar eating machine just chomping away inside of me, and that the hunger was the side effect that the machine was putting out there. I got through it and then settled down to breakfast. I am discovering I'm kind of egged out in the first week. I didn't know I didn't like eggs all that much. I guess I like them sometimes, but not all that much. So I'm going to be doing different things for breakfast. I think what I'm going to do is make extra meat the night before and have like meat and spinach or something like that in the morning. Maybe if we have leftover vegetables from dinner, I might make extra of them too. So it's going to be good, but it's a learning experience. I'm not a breakfast person. Nah, not at all. So having to eat a meal in the morning is not my cup of tea anyway. So it doesn't matter if it's breakfast food or not for me. Learning experiences as you go along. The scale is just going down unbelievably, drastically this week. My first weigh-in is tomorrow, by the way. But it's not even a full week. But I'm going to weigh in on Monday mornings. And I know with every program you start, they say, oh, the first week is water weight. But the thing is, I always drink 8-ounce glasses of water, probably more in a day's time. And then if you add my tea and anything else I drink too, the bone broth also counts for fluid. So it wasn't new for me to drink a lot of water. So it's very curious to me to see what happens in the long term for what I can expect to lose per week. This first week is kind of shockingly the way the scale's moving. So time will tell. I did want to mention, and thanks to comments someone made here, when I put up my recipe videos, I'm going to do a disclaimer on every one now because I get it. Someone was kind enough to mention that the recipe I think I put up for my dinner last night, so the anniversary chicken, that it used vegetable oil, which is not Atkins low carb compliant. And that person is absolutely right. So I need to put up a note that I find my recipes at low carb sites all over the internet. Paleo, keto, Atkins, diabetic, lots of healthy living sites. So not necessarily low carb Atkins sites. And I actually modify the recipes to be compliant to, in my case, the induction phase. And you don't use vegetable oil. You can use a lot of other things, but not vegetable oil. And I use either butter or canola oil. And so I need to do a disclaimer, and maybe I'll make a comment about what I changed about a recipe, because that'll be a good thing for those who are finding their way to low carb living, to see what you do with it. Because man, the sources of recipes out there are amazing. The Atkins site itself, unlike when I was on the Weight Watchers site doing Weight Watchers, which I do love, by the way, their site was kind of like not so good for recipes and stuff like that. A very bulky, hard to navigate site. But the Atkins site, a lot of good free stuff. All you have to do is register. So I'm really a proponent of that site, by the way, if you want to start your Atkins journey. So there's that. I'm going to make a kind of a disclaimer, or just, let's say, encourage folks by, when I have a recipe I've found someplace other than, let's see if I can get you up a little higher. The light's just terrible. Sorry about that, guys. There'll be mornings like this. I just now looked down to see if it was recording. Leave it to me. But you can manipulate so many recipes that are even in the low-carb family to make them fit for Atkins, and I'm sure for you, those of you who are doing keto, for that too. So I'm going to start doing that, and I really appreciate that someone, first they watched the video to get to the point I mentioned my dinner, thank you, and also that, good point, and it would have been very helpful to me, especially if I didn't know the difference, and I'm new, so that person knew I was new. But also for people who come to my videos, I can demonstrate how you find a recipe and make it right if it's not right. So off to church, and then to the grocery store. Yesterday was food planning, which I forgot to put in my Vlogmas for yesterday. Of course, that's a big deal when you're Atkinsing for 2 people. That's a lot of food prep, a lot of planning, and I did spend about an hour and a half on that yesterday. So it's a good morning, or at least I'm telling myself that. The yuckiness, the gloominess got to me a little bit. I guess I wanted sunshine today, but you don't always get what you want. Later. Just came from another in a series of amazing sermons that my minister preached. It's a new minister for us. She's been here for a few months. And this young woman is just astounding. I'm going to do a video on the sermon, but it's going to be a separate one. Because, that's not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not going to put you through that if it's not something you're interested in. And it's about hope and despair. I like sermons, and sermons often go this way. That no matter your faith tradition, you're going to get it, because your tradition does explore the topic and has its way of consoling and offering wisdom, and this was one of those things, a very universal theme, and it was moving. It was on hope versus despair, and where are you now? So I'm going to do a separate video on that. And for those of you who follow both of my channels, it's going to go on both of my channels with an addendum on the other channel specific to earth-based practices and how we might deal with the situation of the 2 wolves. If you know that story, it's part of what I'll tell. I know it's been a good Sunday service when this is what my order of service looks like. And that's what makes a good service for me. Whether I agree or don't agree with the sermon, when I leave with this kind of hen scratching on my order of service, it was a good service. Now, well, from the spiritual to the mundane, I'm off to the grocery store. There's something said about Atkins which is untrue, which is there's no vegetables involved. Even on induction, there's vegetables involved. Yeah, everything's checked off my grocery list. That's done. That's done. Oh, grocery stores on Sunday are really busy. Well, this is interesting. It's more expensive to eat meat than to eat vegetables. There's no doubt about that. There's only 2 of us in the house. Mind you, all 3 are your meals, so there's no other food you get anywhere else. It's averaging about $200 a week for us. We can do it, but whoa. I remember when I started eating heavy on vegetables, that at first I thought that was pretty expensive. But then I started looking for places I could get it cheap, like BJ's, and I stopped worrying, truthfully, about organic. And it got pretty reasonable. But, yeah. And I'm buying things I've never bought before. I'm going to take pictures of those when I'm unboxing. People do unboxing videos, but does anybody ever do unbagging of your grocery videos. I'm not going to do the whole bags, obviously, but I think I'm going to point out the things that I don't usually buy. Sometimes I've never bought. Like a bag of bones, or one of those super Mongo huge bags of shredded cheese. It's a new world. But yeah, and I also think when you get used to drinking water a lot, I'm gonna have to start taking water to church and keep it in the car when I'm doing errands, because I think I'm dehydrated. I think that's really what my problem is. But I'm pooped. But grocery shopping's done. Now I just need some magical genie to take it all out of the car when I get home and put it away. But at least I'll have the fun of sharing the things in it that, did I really buy this? Maybe there's not as many things as I think there is, but anyway. It's a good day, and probably the bulk of my work is done. Here's a PS to the grocery shopping trip. Do you have certain parking lots you really, really hate? I really, really hate the parking lot at the Giant on Beach Highway. I think you have to be certifiably incapable of driving in order to park there. That's really what I think. But I survived. Roddy, 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 J.J. Sri Roddy. It's not too often I drive without chanting. Something I hear on my music that I play in the car will set this off. It's normal for me. Roddy, 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 J.J. Sri Roddy. So before I got home, I realized there were a couple things I forgot to pick up at the grocery store because they weren't on my list. And if they're not on my list, I don't get them. And the thought of going out to the grocery store again later on, well, I decided to go ahead and get that done. Look what I saw in the parking lot at the grocery store. It's for sale. I want it. So here's my Annie, you're just not wrapped tight moment of the day. I bent down in the grocery store parking lot to rescue this little frog before it got run over by a car. It was a very weathered, beat up, plastic toy frog. It didn't need rescuing. Here's what I was telling you about the things at the grocery store that I never would have bought before. That's pork rinds you see at the top left. It's heavy cream and it's cream cheese. Now, not that I've never used heavy cream and cream cheese, but not part of my daily meals. And then there's that Mongo bag of cheddar cheese and 2 bags of bones. This is the world of Atkins. Lunch was a ham and cheese salad with olives and half of a dill pickle and a 2-carb salad dressing. It was a little bit of a goof, though, because that ended up being 8 or close to 8 carbs. That's the price you pay when you don't plan, because I forgot to plan for lunch today, going grocery shopping, and just kind of made do with what I had. And it was too much carbs for lunch. Well, it's not too much carbs for lunch, but I'm going to start cutting back on my carbs for breakfast so that these kinds of salads, when I choose to have them, don't take me over the top, because I ended up with 27 carbs for the day, which is not induction carbs. So lesson learned. That was a little bit, considering we're having Brussels sprouts for dinner tonight, that put my carb count up higher than I want. Learn as you go. Although I do have to say that if I figure these out as net carbs, I'm probably closer to the 20 than it looks like by my numbers. So I think that's about it for today's vlog, except for one thing I wanted to share with y'all. I don't know how good it'll show up in this. Can you see this? Let me get it. It is, on Atkins, you can have salad dressings that are no more than 2 carbs for a tablespoon. And that's what this is. 2 carbs. 2 grams, I should say, of carbs. It's called goddess dressing. Gotta love something that's goddess oriented, because I'm one, you know. and it is organic. It's from a company called Full Circle, and it has lemon, tahini, and garlic in it. And most of the 2-gram salad dressings out there, honestly, bleh. I just assume not bother. So making my own is actually the best option for keeping the carbs low on that. And it's really good. There's a bunch of stuff in it. It has soybean oil, water, tahini, ground sesame, well, that is the tahini is ground sesame seeds, cider vinegar, soy sauce, lemon juice, sea salt, organic garlic, toasted sesame seeds, parsley, all the things are organic, green onions, and then, how do you say that, xanthan gum, that's the binder, I'm sure. So I really like the ingredients in it. It says contains soybeans, wheat, and sesame. Where did the wheat come in, those ingredients? I don't know. But obviously not a lot of it. It's probably is the xanthan gum derivative from wheat? Oh well, anyway, this is going to save salads for me because I like a little dressing on salads, and this is so tasty that you can use that tablespoon and you end up with plenty of taste. So that will be it for my vlog for the day. That's that. Until tomorrow. And dinner for tonight is last night's dinner, a rerun, and so I'll do the carb summary in the next slide because I want to report in on that. So the carb summary is 27 for the day. It's higher than I want it to be, but there's a couple of ingredients in here, including the dinner and a couple other things that I did on carbs and not net carbs, so I'm probably closer to the 20 than that looks, but I'm not beating myself up about it. Okay, and that's that. See you tomorrow.